This is the all-new BMW 3 Series, or BMW Dreier, as we say in Germany. This is the core of the brand. What have they changed on exterior, interior, and what can we expect from driving this car technology-wise? Here on Autogefuehl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars, we will take you on a tour through all the changes in all different areas. And also with two different cars, two trims, M Sport and Sport Line, in mineral white or in Portimao blue. So join us on this tour in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. The new 3 Series will be built in Munich again at the head plant, and when you buy it very early, everyone will get one from Germany. Later on, there is also a new plant planned for Mexico that will then deliver the whole American market. And customers in China will also get it from a plant in China. That's the basic order. And I've told you we have different trims here today. So overall, there's Advantage, Luxury, Sports Line, and the M Sport. And this one here is the M Sport. So until at a later stage a true new M will arrive, the M Sport will remain the sportiest model and already very sporty in the look. You can see here, especially in the lower air intakes, very big, accentuated. And in general, the new 3 Series, well, is defined by those more horizontally drawn headlamps. They start with LED from standard equipment. Then you can get an adaptive LED, which moves alongside in the corners. And this one here, the highest trim with the BMW laser light. You can see it here with those blue accentuations. Then you know that you also have the laser light. You can see a small detail right here. It doesn't go all the way straight through. There's also a signature here of the new generation. And then also the front hood has stronger accentuations and a bigger BMW double kidney. Here you can also see that is this adaptive kidney. At the moment, the vents are closed, and when the engine is needing more air, this part here in the middle will be opened. 4,70 m or 15'4" is the total length of the new 3 Series. That's about 8.5 centimeters longer than before, so a little bit longer than the predecessor generation. And I'm not sure if you've really seen it. Of course, it looks also wider in the front visually. There's also the track change. So the front track is about 4 centimeters wider. The rear track is about 2 centimeters wider. So like, in this one. So in all directions, it grew a little bit. Rims start at 16-inch up to 19-inch. Those ones are the M Sport 19-inch rims. Pretty massive, of course, also in this two-tone style. Then the M Sport package also includes stronger bumpers here in the lower part. Other than that, the main design line is here just over the door handles, very seamlessly integrated for sure. Then this, famous iconic form here in the rear part of the 3 Series, also with the dark window frame here in the M Sport. So all again set for the sporty look. But of course, the main characteristic of the 3 Series has remained the very same. Definitely again an evolutionary step. But technologically, there are also new changes. For example, they worked on the sportiness of the car. It gets even sportier. The weight balance is 50% in the front, 50% in the rear. The overall weight is down by about 55 kilograms, depending also on the engine choice. And there's also a new underfloor cover to improve the wind efficiency. So some small technological details being updated, and a very important aspect is also about the suspension. This one here starts also as a base 3 Series, or BMW Dreier as we say in Germany. It starts with new adaptive dampers with a hydraulic cushion, and that means that in the lower damper areas you also have a very sensitive area to improve the comfort, but when you have stronger bumps, it's still remaining stable. That's the secret behind it. And then optional, you can also get this suspension as an M adaptive sport suspension. That would be the top suspension trim. And then there's also a normal M suspension without those adaptive dampers if you want really the strong, stiff suspension experience. Which one would you go for? In the rear, also as the modern design trend says, those taillights are also more horizontally drawn. They're beautiful with this LED shape, and they're also more three-dimensional, so you can see they're not all flat, they really have a structure. And real exhaust tips, yes, I mean, the outer part is just for the beauty, but I think that's totally fine with me, and it looks really good with those two pipes on both sides with the 30i engine. What do you think about the new design of this generation? So for the trunk, you can also get this electric opening. I mean, for a sedan trunk, you can just also go with the base version, but also a little bit more comfort. 480 liters is the normal setup, and then you can also flip those seats. 40, 20, 40 is also standard, that you can not only flip the seats in this way, but also just flip the middle part. Just doing it like this, they can also load things through. You will also be able to optionally fit a replacement tire as always. So put them up again. Let me just show you that we can just have this middle part right there. But of course, more handy will be the touring version, the Estate, coming up later, and it's approximately always, half a year later after the introduction of the sedan that we'll then also see the touring version. Of course, we will keep you updated with that on Autogefuehl. Today we also have a key special for you here with the 3 different key fobs. This one here is the base key fob you always get. This one here is then the one with the M Sport package with the M colors at the side. And then you can also get the, let's say, computer key, the biggest one with the screen. And well, it is bigger, yes, but it has the advantage if you have the independent heating system, for example, you can then activate the independent heating here with the big key fob. That would be the advantage. And if you pick this one here, the big one, you also get a normal one always alongside. So if you at some point say, yeah, I don't always need it, I just want it maybe a little bit slimmer in the pocket, then you also have the choice to go over this one. And for all 3, very important, there's a new function. We've recently discussed it with you guys. There's a new function to save the copying of signals that your vehicle gets stolen, because when you put them down, put them on the table or somewhere and they rest basically, they shut down, that no one can copy the signal, so you don't need to put it then maybe in a cake box or something to hide it from being stolen with the signal copying. Well, keyless entry, you can open the car, put your hand inside here or put it here to close it then, and door closing sound test. That sounds pretty solid as we used to. Then inside of the doors, we have soft touch material on the top part, then we have SensorTech leatherette right here, also from a good quality. There are different styles of course available, and this is also the new style which reminds at the side window frame right there, interesting. And standard window levers for all 4 parts. Then you also can fit some bigger bottles right there, that should work, and open the trunk from there. This is here also the Harman Kardon sound system. Overall there are 3 speaker trims, 6 speakers, 10 speakers, or the top trim 16 speakers. Then the interior, again, this was the M Sport model, so you have a sport seat. So you have bigger side bolsters, also a bigger shoulder accentuations. And the standard would then here be that you get a fabric on the inside and leatherette SensorTech on the outside. I really recommend that seat then. Or alternatively, you can get Alcantara on the inside and SensorTech leatherette on the outside. This one here is the top spec animal skin full package. This is also an extra price, also with the blue contrast situations. But you can have a lot of alternatives then, as I just said. Let's test it. Of course, the sport seat here will be a little bit different from the base seat. The base seat, by the way, will also be available either in pure fabric in European markets or in US markets with full SensorTech if you need seats that you want to wipe clean a little bit easier. So electric controls in the lower part, and well, you feel directly at home. You still feel it's a 3 Series that hasn't changed so much, but since the car is a little bit long and also just a little bit wider, you have a little bit more room. Also the dashboard has been uncluttered, also less buttons. You still have a CD changer, I can already tell you so far. Soon it will take a detailed look right there. Very interesting, so you feel a little bit more spacious also because here this A-pillar, the cover of the A-pillar has been made a little bit slimmer. This also increases the visibility from inside to the exterior. And by the way, the front glass is always now a soundproof insulation glass to bring down the noise level. And the side glass, this is optional then, so you can not have this on a standard, but you can option also a side window insulation package to make it even calmer on the interior. Well, and I mean, I have this typical sporty BMW seating position here with a menu control also of the steering wheel. This also the M Sport steering wheel, this very thick one, and also it's a little bit asynchronous, that in the top part is a little bit thicker even. Some really love it. I'm not really sure about it. I really like it more. It's not that thick in this upper area, but it sure looks sporty. And then you also have more flat buttons here at the steering wheel. I'm not sure if those are pre-production. Sometimes they are. We'll see that on later, because at the moment I think this could have been done a little bit better quality-wise. But again, this is the very first model that's available. And then the shifting pedals also with the automatic gearbox, because most cars of those will come with the automatic gearbox. And then you can still shift manual in a way with those pedals here at the side. Subscribers will know I'm 1m86 or 6'1", and I have the seat in the lowest position without a panoramic glass roof, and this leaves still plenty of headroom, so that's all fine also for taller people. This is the new interior overview, by the way, also then with this optional SensorTech leather red dashboard, really cool quality, also with this meshed aluminum style. It is not really aluminum. Oh, this is, by the way, also new for me for the BMW infotainment system. As you say, hey Mercedes, you say, hey BMW or hello BMW. I wonder if in French, for example, you just can say BM then and not BMW. And then you can also voice interact. Maybe that's set temperature to 22 degrees.
Sorry, I didn't hear that properly.
Set temperature to 22 degrees.
In the driver's area, 22 degrees Celsius are already set.
Ah, cool. So she said that the temperature is always set to 22 degrees in the driver's area. And let's just check that, because the, yeah, that's true. So pretty cool, for example, to set the temperature or use the GPS then, and you set the temperature now right there. Very interesting. So this is also new. And you get different setups for the screens. On the left side, you start with analog instruments and a smaller 5.7-inch screen. And on the right side, you start with the 8.8-inch screen. This one here is then the bigger one, the top one, 10.25-inch. And on the left side, you can get a 12.3-inch full digital cockpit. Soon more details to those screens. Let me just continue right here, because this lower part is basically mirroring the upper part. Then seat heating is right here. Then this new AC unit I've just shown you, and you still have a CD changer. Some people really appreciate it for best sound quality if they want to listen to the music with this with a CD. And then this classic volume knob that is still left with a checkered aluminum or metal structure around it. Pretty cool. Then this part here opens in a new way. Also very interesting, a little bit complicated maybe. And in this lower area, also light, is practical. You have an inductive charging for your smartphone, another USB port, and also adaptive cup holders and a 12-volt power supply. Infotainment system, by the way, it's not flickering in real life. We just have a hard time, so many settings on the camera to get it unflickering on camera. But for the real eye, it looks really cool, good resolution. Basically, it is also a touchscreen. So here we go, and you can also set your left menus. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth, but also via Apple CarPlay. Also wireless CarPlay is of course available as you had that before. GPS can also be put in a bigger screen here. You have a good reaction time here, pretty amazing. And you can still use it or control it with a lower controller that you can, do that while driving, for example. Cool, we also have a blue car in the visualization as we have one on the exterior. I like those details. You can set some more details on the right side. A G meter is also available. So it looks quite fancy, those new digital gauges. But then again, a 3 Series, might also be just cool with a classic analog display that is still available. The new head-up display is 70% bigger, and you can only have the speed, for example. You can also browse in the menu that you don't have to look at the infotainment screens, for example, or have the GPS commands if you have a route mounted. So you still have this classic knob here to select with a nice clicking sound and press, or also write, for example, when you search an address. See? So that's pretty handy. And by the way, the infotainment system will now also feature over-the-air updates. Hotkeys right there, they are not really physical in a way that they stand up, but it's all integrated. You see, it's rather a flat area, also like the sport mode, comfort, and so the start engine button. Everything is really seamlessly integrated. You can still press it and get a haptical feedback. There are no monitors or something, but there are no not standing out buttons. And this is then the new gear selector, very small. And finally the armrest, well attached. And some more room here has been increased, and there's a new USB-C port. Let's now get in the rear. And since the car is a little bit longer now, also the rear legroom has been increased. I mean, it's still no rear legroom wonder, but you can see I do fit here exactly, and also have still some more room in front of my knees, although I'm driving as a front passenger and the seats are quite thick, so it isn't a better result than before. But again, there are also other cars who use the package a little bit better. The seating position in the rear, especially the rear seats, has been changed, and indeed I feel it's more comfortable than before. Headroom, although we are in the sedan, there's still plenty, so it's absolutely fine. I think also in the rear, the glass roof, if you have that one, shouldn't affect it. The glass roof, by the way, is now 10 centimeters larger than before if you have spec'd that one. You can also very well see the ambient light here, for example, here now in blue, and LED ambient lighting is standard equipment as well. Really fancy. And so what else do we have here? Well, we had this ski hatch. Can you show you that with the trunk as well? But just to show you it from here. And then the cup holders, also adaptive right there. And then if you want, there's also a new AC unit for the rear with temperature set, even seat heating optional, and 2 USB-C ports. So altogether you would have 2 USB-C ports here in the rear. 12-volt power supply, you can have this as an adapter for more USB ports, of course, if you want. And then there was 1 USB-C in the middle console in the front. And then there was a normal standard USB, the old USB in the very front. So you have both portabilities, or then again, use the 12-volt charger with an adapter to make the USB slots you really need. And now the front of the Sport line, which is also sporty for sure, looks pretty fancy, but not as sporty as the M Sport. So there's little differentiation. You have to pay about 2,500 euros extra for this one here comparing to the base, and then another 2,500 approximately for the M Sport starting from this one here. But the overall look of the new 3 Series will be sport here as well. And then about the headlamps again, well, the very base LED headlamp, they just have a signature with just basically a straight stripe in the lower part. Then this one here, with the dynamic LED, already has this curve, this, let's say, half U. And then the top laser light has this curve that goes to the side. So there you can also see with the LED daytime signature light which one of those headlamps you have picked. So what do you think? Would you rather go for the white one or for the blue one? Of course, there will also be different colors available. Here also with 19-inch optional rims. So how sporty it really looks between M Sport and the Sport line will rather also depend on the rim choice you will take. Then those ones here also from the BMW individual choice, so very precious ones. So the lower part, I mean, it looks quite similar from the side. The front end is probably the one where M Sport and the Sport line differ most. The exhaust tips are here also very present, but you can see here that in the Sport line you don't have this super big black diffuser style as we had with the M Sport. This is more painted in vehicle color. And speaking of a white 3 Series, yeah, my grandparents had the E30 in white, And I so wish they haven't sold that, but you know, that's all the past now. This is the older generation. So in this interior we also have the sport seats mounted with some different contrast stitches. As I said, you can also get different base seat form and the sport seats also with different surfaces. Here we also have different decor inlet with a more, let's say, a finer structure, but also bright aluminum style. The basic difference here, well, it's not so much between the Sportline and the M Sport. It's more visual differences, but then also not that much. Interesting that here has nothing to do with the line, just a general option. This one here is then now equipped with a glass roof, and wow, you can really see the difference. That it's bigger than before, so leaves a lot more light in the interior. And when you open it, it also seems like, you know, the integration of the glass roof, you can also see it then from the outside, is slimmer and more streamlined now. So that looks pretty good. Some of you asked me if I could always open it and show it from the outside here. So I think the integration is well done. And headroom wise, well, you maybe lose a little bit. Yeah, so before it was like this, so you lose headroom. So if you're way taller than me, then you have to refrain from picking the glass roof. Other than that, if you know maximum 190 meters or 6'2", also with the roof, with the glass roof would still work. As for the rear, it does not make any difference headroom wise because the seating is raising again, as I was suspecting. So still fine with the headroom here. Of course, if you have the touring, the estate later on, this will go straight onto the back, will give you a little bit more roomish feeling then. But as for the roof, it's really just a difference in the front with the headroom. So that's a fancy view, right? You know, with both hoods open. Well, it's the same engine here today, both the 30i. So this is the 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine here with 258 horsepower. So far the top spec petrol engine. And the interesting thing is 258 horsepower, and it makes 5.8 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. So you can always remember the second figure if you know the horsepower figure. 258, 5.8, you got that? Yeah, pretty nice, right? I also get thumbs up from Michelle, cameraman for the day. Thank you so much. And then this engine is also available with a 184 horsepower spec, so a little bit lower. Of course, still standard rear-wheel drive. And also comes with an 8-speed automatic gearbox that is then also enabling you to use a sailing mode to save fuel when you're just rolling with the vehicle. There are still also diesels available, and by the way, petrol and diesel, they both get particle filters. And the diesel, there will be a 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel with 265 horsepower and a 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel with 190 or 150 horsepower. The smaller diesels, you can also get a 6-speed manual gearbox. And for the 190 horsepower diesel, you will also have the X-Drive, so the all-wheel drive, which is then still having a rear-wheel bias. What do we expect later on? Also an M Performance model for the petrol side with more power. And of course later, a true M3. And also a new plug-in hybrid. There was one before, but then the new one has supposed to be 60 kilometers of pure electric range. Well, that's the official figure, maybe realistic, then maybe something between 40 and 50, but definitely doubled than before. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new BMW 3 Series, the G20 as it's called from the internal code. G21 will be the later touring or estate. Well, for sure on the exterior it is rather an evolution again, and they have to do that because it is their core identity product, even though if SUVs are gaining more and more momentum, and the X1 is probably also the most popular model now. This one here still stands for BMW itself as a brand and will of course remain important. So exterior, yes, evolution, but definitely sharper than before, and also due to the technology changes, a base 3 Series will be sporty to drive as we expect already from the base setup. On the interior, there are even a little bit more changes, so you have a little bit more room to move around. That makes it more spacious. They also stepped up the game into the build quality, for example. Very interesting also to see the different trims we've shown you here today, and more digitalized, of course, especially if you have this big screen setup, which we've seen with a good resolution. And it's not overdone. That's really important to me. So it's not that you have a super tech fest and don't know where to get around, for example. However, with the instruments, I'm still the analog instruments fan, especially for rather, let's say, all-time classic like a 3 Series. And good that we especially have more room in the rear now. The Touring then will give you more versatility for the trunk area for sure. But the very important thing here with the new 3 Series is about all those technology changes, because if you look at it and then put it to the older generation, you might think, yeah, not so much has changed. But, talking about the weight changes they have done, the new dampers, that's actually the thing I'm looking forward to most in our full driving review. How do those new standard adaptive dampers perform? And, you get some more equipment like the LED lamps from standard equipment, LED on the interior, and also use those new dampers. But BMW promised that the price will relatively remain the same as for the previous generation. And 2 details I was missing earlier. With the wipers here, for example, have this integrated system that the nozzle is integrated, so it won't, spray all over the place. So it's, definitely a more efficient system. And the autonomous emergency brake also belongs to this, standard equipment. Then optional with a new assistance system package for the ACC and so on, and the blind spot monitor, what you are also used to. That's it from me here today, and I hope you enjoyed our exclusive coverage. Here at Autogefuehl, you're always among the first ones to see the all-new cars, and I hope we will also see you at our full driving review of this new lineup.